Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dalles Chamber Community Affairs. Today, our guest is Robert Wallace and David Shakel. Is that correct? Thank you. We're going to learn a little bit more about, I'm assuming, Forth Mobility and Wy'East, a little bit of both maybe, and what it means to have an electric car or electric tractor or any of the above. We have one parked right outside of our door at the chamber, and an event is coming soon also for a drive-in ride. So that should be lots of fun also. So with that, we're going to introduce everybody across the room, and then we'll take it to our guest speakers. So Scott McKay, let's start with you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Scott McKay. I'm a community liaison for Circles of Care, and Circles of Care parent, or it was Initiative of Age Plus, a statewide nonprofit that focuses on helping older adults and in rural communities. And this coming Wednesday, they're having their Ageless Awards, which is their big fundraiser in Portland. And they have the Ageless Awards. They recognize 4 individuals who are 75 and older and who are still contributing and have contributed to their communities. And this year, Rita and I are going down because Karen Wilson Brown is being recognized for all the work she has done with older adults throughout over the last at least 45, 50 years. So, but they will be a virtual, you can attend the Ageless Award virtually at the Mid-Columbia Senior Center on Wednesday from 12 to 1. And Julie Reynolds, who you may know, she is a board member of Age Plus, and she'll be hosting that event with Rob's help of setting everything up. So I invite everyone to come to the Mid-Columbia Senior Center, pick up lunch, and watch the Ageless Awards on their big screen TV. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanya?
Thank you, Lisa. So I think, so Tanya Brumley with Northwest Natural Community Affairs here in the Gorge. I guess just getting ready for Cherry Fest as well. And then United Way, we met last night. We do have a fundraiser concert for the Gorge. And that is coming up on June 29th. So keep an eye out for that. The band is going to be, is called Hell's Bells. I think they're AC/DC. Am I right? Anyone who's...
I think so.
Probably right.
The AC/DC tribute band, but it's all women. So this should be really fun and interesting. I haven't heard them. Anyway, fundraiser, all goes to a good cause. We finished allocations for the Gorge this year. So we're super excited. Now we got to raise money to give to all the nonprofits. And
yes, Tanya, I just Googled, they are an AC/DC, but all female. So yeah.
Okay, I got it right. Thanks.
You got it all right, girl. Good job.
You know, the memory with my aging is going a little bit, so I'm glad I got it right.
Some of us are a little older. Shh, shh, shh. All right, Corliss, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Corliss Marsh, Habitat for Humanity, the library, and the Senior Center. Nice tan, Tanya. Just want to remind everyone that on April 20th, Cherry Festival, we're having a quilt show at St. Peter's Landmark. And so if you know anyone that has a quilt that would like to be in the show, please just bring it that morning. 9 o'clock in the morning, we'll be there to receive quilts. And the show is from 10 to 4. And it includes, we'll be having some quilts for sale in Victor's backyard at the Herbring House courtyard. So that's it.
Great, thank you. Let's go to Brian.
Brian Tech retired, and Robert, it's good to see you again. It's been a long time.
Rob Garrett.
That's it.
Thanks, Brian.
Good morning, everybody. Rob Garrett, Mid-Columbia Senior Center, and I've got a lot of stuff going on the next 5-6 weeks, especially. So I'm going to run the list real quick, and hopefully I don't get it out of date. So I think the first thing coming up is we're going to host the Cherry Festival breakfast on Saturday morning at I believe we start at 7:30 as I think our starting time for that. I might be wrong. Corliss maybe could help me if I am. 7:30 to 9:30 is our hours for the breakfast.
I think it's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Okay, I got to change that on the reader board. So anyway, and that's $8 per person and $5 for children 12 and under. And of course, we're going to be serving sausage biscuits and eggs, I believe, scrambled eggs. And that's to celebrate the Cherry Festival. And we're going to run the van in the festival parade, the new van. Then coming up on April 30th, 10 days later, we're having the Wasco County Candidates Forum hosted here, along with Toastmasters, Chamber of Commerce, Farm Bureau, Columbia Gorge News. I think that's everyone on the list, right, Lisa?
Yep, it is.
Anyway, and there are going to be several, hopefully several candidates here, and it starts at 6 o'clock. Doors open at 5:30 for that. Roger Nichols will be the moderator, and the Toastmasters will be here to kind of present and help introduce speakers. It's going to be kind of fun. I don't know if we haven't done that since I've been in here, so it's going to be kind of fun to see that happen. Then coming up on May 4th is our Shred event, which is in the parking lot on Saturday, May 4th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that we are charging $6 for a standard legal size box. You bring it down and we will dump it in the big shred truck. And it's not even all that loud, and it's really kind of fun. So it's kind of like a drive-through. We get the truck out here in the parking lot, and you come through and you make a swing by and throw your box off, throw your money out the window. You don't even have to get out of your car, and you don't even have to throw it. I'll take it, or someone will take it hand in hand. Anyway, and then after that, the last thing to talk about for the month, it would be on May 17th. We have a cowboy dance coming here at the Senior Center. It's a Friday night. I haven't gotten the specifics on that. It'll probably be a DJ, maybe hopefully Stan Farger from Y102, but we haven't actually confirmed him yet. So if anyone says, tell Stan to call me. I've been trying to call him. How about that? Anyway, that's what's going on right now at the Cherry Fest, or excuse me, the Senior Center. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, there is a lot going on. Matt, can you talk? I see he's going to say hi. He's on his motorcycle. Okay, well, don't talk. Just listen. Let's see, who else did Phil Brady.
Hi, Phil Brady, Wasco County Commissioner. I got a slide to show here, put on the screen. This was yesterday. Got a lot of familiar faces here. Here's me. This is Kaylee Burton from Community College in the electrotechnical training. And we were all at the natural gas. And here's Tanya, Robert. Robert, who is this?
Yeah, that's Michael Clues. He was our rare from last year. And this is Lanier, and Lanier is our current rare AmeriCorps for this year.
And here's Dan Spots off in here. So we were there getting a tour of natural gas. This is their test city where they train their folks to spot natural gas leaks, fix those. And we were there looking at how Northwest, actually Tanya could do this later on, Northwest Gas is leading us into a hydrogen economy.
Awesome, thank you. David Peters?
Good morning, everybody. My video decided not to work, so as soon as I'm done, I'm going to log off and get back on. But yeah, Dave Peters, Columbia Cascade Housing, the Columbia Housing Authority. We are right now interviewing people for that developer job. So we've not closed the opening. It's just we've started our first round of interviews. So if you're interested, come our way. But otherwise, I don't have a whole lot to report right now. Thanks.
All right, thank you, David. All right, before we go to our guest speakers, I put 2 links into the chat so that you have it. Tonight is starting for our business training workshops for the Latino business owners and entrepreneurs. So if you know of somebody, it's free. It's paid for by a grant. It'll be up at the college in building 2, the theater room, and SBDC will be leading this. It will be in Spanish. There will be things there in English also, but this is meant to really, truly support our Latino businesses. So everything will be in Spanish tonight. There are 3 of them in this series. So if you click on that website, you'll see all 3. And there are some great basics in how you operate, start, and make your business better. So we wanted to make sure that they have those opportunities. So if you know of anyone, please, please, please share. We want as many as possible to go and take advantage of this. This was a grant that I wrote a couple of years ago through Travel Oregon, and we were able to extend some of the work beyond the grant. So we're super excited that we're doing this and delivering this to our community. The other thing is, of course, all things Cheery. It's just there. It's next weekend, believe it or not. So I may ask Dan, he doesn't know it yet, but since he's not here, I can volunteer him. He may be hosting next week, as I will be out on the grounds helping to set up equipment. If anybody wants to volunteer, we have a ton of different spots, even beginning as soon as tomorrow, in helping us out with different aspects of the Cherry Festival. As you know, this is a big thing. It takes a ton to put on this event, and my staff of 5 of us cannot do it all by ourselves. So I'm reaching out. I even have an entire list of time slots and everything. If anybody's interested, just get a hold of me and I'll send that to you and you can pick a spot. I'm sure I've got one that will fit you just perfectly. So with all of that going on, I will, and then don't forget, as Rob mentioned, the candidate forum, which is on the 30th of this month at the Mid-Columbia Senior Center. Doors open at 5:30, process begins at 6. I'm having candidates confirm. I hopefully by Monday or Tuesday of next week, I have a firm list of who is coming and presenting. And then we also have a link that we can do questions, and I will go grab that link in a little bit and put it up in our chat also. So if you have questions for the candidates, you can go ahead and enter those, and we can make sure that our moderator breaks that out so that everybody is asked the same question for each position. We try to do this fair and informative. So with that, thank you all for being here. Rob, I'm going to let you take it away. So Robert Wallace.
Okay, and I'm actually gonna ask Mr. David Skakel to kind of kick us off. And so David, many of you may recognize, is a local Mosierite, and he has started working for Forth, which is a e-mobility nonprofit out of Portland. And so Dave and I have been working quite a bit together. We work on the e-farms program, and then a few other projects here in Wasco County. So David, if you would like to kick us off, and then I'll just follow up as needed here.
Sure. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, David Skakel, and as Robert mentioned, I live in the area. I previously worked for about 10 years for Wasco County before Commissioner Brady's time, but I manage mostly a 3-county hazardous waste and recycling program, and concluded that in August of 2022 and started in December of 22. Yeah, working for this. It's now a national nonprofit called Forth, Forth, based out of Portland, Oregon. But it is a 501c3 that its mission is to advance the equitable access to electric mobility. So essentially, anything electric transportation, and I'm experiencing it as a bit of a growth organization. We've doubled in size in a couple of years. There's about 50 of us. We're mostly remote workers, which is new to me, and yeah, we're spread out all over the country. But just to give you a basic idea, we work on things from the technical side, outreach, policy around access to vehicles, like the car at the chamber, which is a really low cost way to get into an electric car for a day for $30 if you want, to what we call micro mobility, just smaller pedestrian style electric, to school buses, to trying to figure out how to get EV charging into multifamily housing, all that sort of stuff. And I primarily work on the farm side, which we call emerging technology. So Forth, along with 3 other nonprofits, including Robert's group, Wy'East Resource Conservation and Development, another one, Sustainable Northwest, and Bonneville Environmental Foundation is also sort of a silent partner guide on this. And we also, Robert and I work on two projects. The other one is very much involved with Wasco County, and we'll talk more about it, but it's a USDA funded project trying to figure out the uniqueness of developing EV electric vehicle charging infrastructure in rural counties. By trying to endeavor to do that in Wasco County. So that's in a nutshell, and I'll pass it on to Robert.
Right. Yeah, and so I think one of the big things we want to talk about today is we're getting ready to do a ride and drive out of the chamber office coming up here in May. I think it's on May 9th, I believe, is a Thursday. And so Dave and I have been working together with Lisa and trying to get some of the local dealerships to bring over some of their inventory. And basically it's kind of a no sales type event, but if anybody's interested in checking out an electric vehicle or taking one for a test drive, we're going to be set up. And so Wy'East and Forth, David's really leading this event. We're going to have, I know Tesla is going to bring 2 vehicles up from Portland, and we've been talking to some of the other dealerships. We did this in Mosier this last fall. I know Mike Ernest brought down a couple of the 4xe Jeeps, and so it's kind of a hybrid Jeep, runs on electric and has a gas engine in it. We're trying to, we've got part of our program, one of the Ford F-150 pickups that'll be there, trying to get with Ford to bring over one of their Mach-E Mustangs and one of their Ford Transit vans. And so these transit vans are the little white cargo vans you see, and Ford has a couple of these that are electric and would work really well for, kind of inner city delivery. They got a fairly short range on them, but I could see it working really well for just getting around town, delivering stuff around town and stuff. And so we'll have a variety of different vehicles. Everybody's welcome to join us to be in the afternoon. I don't know, David, do you have a time set for that? Is it going to start at 3 or 4 o'clock?
Yeah, it is Thursday, May 9th at 2 o'clock for 4 hours. So it's 2 to 6, and we will have, it's a very all-inclusive event. We typically do these events, they're called ride and drives. Forth does them really focused merely on electric vehicles. It's just a way for folks to access the technology and try it and see how it differs from a combustion car. But since we have Robert's group located right in the area with all our electric farm equipment, and since we coincidentally have, in conjunction with the PUD and the chamber, a electric car share car plugged in right there at the chamber site, we thought, hey, this is a convergence. We could add more things to it. So I think this is, not to be a real bolster here, but I think it's going to be a pretty hopping event. Maybe not, we'll see if we can get the all-women's AC/DC band to show for this one, but we will at least try to get some pizza and ice cream powered up on an electric tractor, and maybe an electric F-150 Lightning as well. But yeah, there'll be about 10 to 12 electric vehicles to try from, including about 7 or so cars from 2 dealerships locally. And as Robert mentioned, I think Tesla's going to bring out a couple of cars from Portland. We really tried to defer to the local dealerships first, and thank you, Lisa, it really helped out making those connections. And we're also, I had hoped to get an electric school bus there. That was not easy to pull that one out of my hat, but we do plan to bring, we call it micromobility, but that could be anything from scooters to a variety of electric bikes and cargo bikes. And we're going to bring several electric bikes out that people can actually ride and do that as well. And so that'll be probably like a test drive around second or third around the Rotary and back. And Phil?
Yeah, I've checked out. Have you talked to the Honda dealers? I have an order for the Honda Prologue, which should should be here at the end of the month, and so they might have another model besides mine that might be available for the test drive.
Yeah, thank you. We did talk to them, and they because Toyota and Honda, and they're going to have several cars, and RAV4 hybrid, a plug-in Prius, and what's called a BZ4. And then Under Reiner, who's a Ford Nissan dealerships, they're going to bring an electric Mach car and an F-150 Lightning, a panel van, a transit van, and a Nissan Aria.
Hmm.
And then we'll also bring a probably a Rivian pickup truck from Portland, and that we have, our Forth has, and then also what sounds like they're popular, but a Polestar. And here I am, sort of the program manager at Forth. I don't really know these cars that well. I more stick in the tractor lane with Robert, to be honest. But so I'll be excited to see some of these vehicles as well. So there's all that, and the utilities will be there. The some other organizations that are interested in this subject. It's come one, come all. Test it, try it, kick the tires, and like Robert said, this is not a sales event. We're just trying to get people who are knowledgeable on the subject in one site. And a part of the deal, if I can back up, we're really sensitive not to this seems like a technology that's has this, as you can be aware, this potential to be transformative, which can translate into disruptive. So we're really trying to objectively and without brand neutral, just get the equipment in front of people and let them try it and get their opinion of it, and give feedback also to the manufacturers. So
Yeah. Tanya in the chat there asked if there's motorcycles. And so actually we have 2 of the new Polaris electric side-by-sides. And so like the Polaris Ranger, like you see out on the ranch, we've got one in Dufur and a second one sitting at Fun Country right now, waiting to be picked up. And so I think Fun Country is going to be involved with this too. They've got the Polarises, they've got an electric dirt bike called a Stark. And then they've got the smaller kids' little electric bikes. And so we're working the details out with Fun Country. And then Pape, which is the big Caterpillar, John Deere, traditional big equipment diesel sales company. They've got a whole fleet of electric vehicles and stuff. And so they're talking about bringing some of those up. So I think we may have to stretch the parking lot a little bit, because I think we're going to have a bunch of stuff there. And I think this is really cool. And it's going to be a lot of different things that are there. So you guys will be able to check all this stuff out. I hope everybody comes. I hope we get several of the downtown business folks that, as they're getting off work, are coming out and checking this off. David and I are kind of working on a secret project. We're looking to have something kind of fun that we plug into one of these electric tractors, because they're actually essentially a battery on wheels. And so we can get outboard power. And so we're trying to get something special together, have a little treat there for everybody, that we would actually power from one of these electric tractors and stuff. So stay tuned for the big release on that. But we hope everybody can come join that. Part of what we're doing too, kind of to transition maybe a little bit, is David mentioned we're working on this kind of guidebook, or this plan for rural counties on where EV charging should be located. And so part of our staff will be there too, just asking folks questions around, where would you like to see charging? We'll have some maps there. They can put a dot on a map, maybe where they think it would be most appropriate. We'll be trying to collect some information there. David's group's really leading the effort on putting this guidebook together. We felt that, most of the charging probably be along I-84, and then one of the fastest charging locations scheduled is actually designated to be in Shaniko. And so our smallest city will have probably the hottest, most beefiest charging station, and it's because of its location between Biggs and Madras. And so anyways, we will have some folks there collecting some information with that. Our plan here is to have an information gathering, have a little fun, and then let you guys check out a variety of these different electric vehicles. We took 3 vehicles down to the FFA State Convention here a few weeks ago in Redmond. We took the F-150 pickup, we took one of the Polaris side-by-sides, and then the electric tractor. And David and I presented during one of the sessions there. And I'll tell you what, we were just amazed by those young folks and their knowledge and their interest and stuff. And so that was pretty impressive with that. I think we had about, I would say, 50 to 75 FFA students during our session, and they were all over this. The interesting thing was the Ford pickup F-150 looks like a Ford pickup. The side-by-side looks just like the gas-powered side-by-side, so you don't really notice when you're looking at it. But the electric tractor we have looks quite a bit different. So we noticed that seemed to draw the people because it's got such a different look and stuff. So any questions on that? I think you posted in the chat here the flyer for the event. I think you're helping us push information out on that.
Actually, that's a different flyer for a different event. So
Okay. Okay.
do I have your flyer? David, did you send me one?
No, I'm just posting right there our webpage.
Okay.
And we're gonna have some ads out starting today and some articles and radio and all that good stuff on the Ride and Drive. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. David, do you have a flyer for this?
We don't. We could put
Okay.
one together pretty quickly if you think it's
If you could, that helps us as we're trying to promote. We can put that out in our things, but we can use the flyer and that's easy. But I will use your website for right now when we send out the community information. So thank you. I'll get this to my team. And it looks like Phil has a question and then Scott.
Quick question. What does side-by-side mean? You're talking about that as in terms of EV truck.
Yeah, it's like a UTV. It's like a off-road 4-wheel drive. It's got a little cab and a little bed on it. Looks like all you'll see like a little Kubota at the school where they'll be doing their maintenance off from it and stuff.
Okay.
And so this is a Polaris. Yeah,
ATV.
Polaris. Yeah.
Think of a fancy 4-wheeler with a cab.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's honestly, the Polaris is my favorite because I mean it's super nice.
Imagine the
Yeah.
torque. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Hey Scott, what do you got here this morning?
So Robert, I like many of us, our kids have electric vehicles, e-vehicles, and a couple things. I don't particularly need to, kick the tires as much because I can see the real value in it. The question I have would be, if I was going to get an EV, how much would it cost? How can I get a 220 charger in the back of my yard so I can charge the vehicle? Would there be someone there to answer those type of questions? And then the second thing is just a comment that, from my experience driving it with my daughter down in California, is that from our experience, you have to maybe change your expectations a little bit because we ended up, she was real cautious. So every 2 hours we stopped to get charged because she had never taken the vehicle on a long trip. But I think we could go every 3 hours, but we ended up doing a lot of charging at shopping malls or that type of thing so we could eat or do something at the same time. So, and then I think most every time we were able to find a charger, but there were sometimes we had to wait. And that just something that I would just have to get used to or find where the chargers are with the different apps. But the question is, is 220 or some kind of, how do you get charging in your house so you can charge it overnight?
Yeah, and so that's a good question, and so I'll say a couple of things. One, both Northern Wasco PD and Wasco Electric are going to be there, and so they Northern Wasco PD actually has a rebate if you install a home charger. And so, but the simple answer to your question, you'd have, if you don't have an existing 220 outlet at home, you'd have to install one so that you can charge, because most likely that's what you'd want to use to charge from. The charging infrastructure, there is range anxiety. We've taken these electric pickups all the way out to Paisley and Christmas Valley, and we get out there and they go, "How are you guys getting home?" And they start laughing at us. And I always there's a portable charger we would carry with us. And I know all the ranchers out there, so I figured if I got in trouble, I'd pull into a farm shop and see if they let me charge for a little bit to get us out of there. But it is a real deal. And that's part of what we're working on is the infrastructure part of it. David's group's really big with that. There's several different funding sources for that through ODOT, through federal sources. You're going to see the interstate along the main interstate get charging first. Highway 97 is a #1 priority, so you'll see that. And that and I-5 are #1 priorities for charging. But range anxiety is a true situation and stuff, and so we've experienced that. And usually, have found that you find the places you like to charge, and that's where you go. And we've pulled up the chargers; they don't work. They don't charge at the speed they say they will, and so this is still a new technology, and it's not for everyone and everywhere. And I'll be the first to say that. It'd be ideal for someone, for example, living in Maupin, driving to the Dalles every day, where they've got a 100-mile round trip, and they get home every night, they plug it in, charge up, and they're full for the next day. And that's kind of part of it too, is you want to be like, a lot of times with us, we get ready to go, we'll go down, we'll get up, we'll hop in the car, go down to the gas station, fill it up, and then we leave. With this, you want to charge it the night before so it's full prior to leaving. The vehicles all have, most of them all have different technology in them. It tells you, like, if you plan a trip, you put it into the map in the vehicle, and it tells you where you need to charge, how long you'll be there, what level of charge you'll be at, and what you need to charge to. And that stuff's all being developed and improved, and it's getting better and better. And each vehicle has a different range. And so some of the cars are maybe a couple 100 miles range. The pickups we've had a Rivian and the F-150. Both of them had the larger battery packs. We could get about 300 miles range from the pickup trucks. I think Tesla's got one of their long distance, I think around 400-mile range. And so there's a lot of work to be done with that. Some of the work we've been doing here is already, I'm going to say, paying dividends. We were down the Wasco County Fairgrounds, just installed a new charging station down there. We took the F-150 pickup down, met with Lisa Gamby and the crew from the county, and they test charged on the pickup, and that's all running. It's there by the restrooms over by the RV park, kind of on the west end of the fairgrounds. And so we're seeing more charging, going in. One of the challenges is you get in these rural areas, maybe the power is not there. And we hear a lot about that because it needs this big demand of power. And so we've actually been working with some charging companies that make these EV chargers, where the charger has a battery pack in it. And so it just basically trickle charges this battery pack, and then you pull up with your car and you get the fast charge. And so that alleviates us from having to have this big 3-phase power from the utility. And it also eliminates the big demand charges and stuff. And the interesting thing about those chargers is, hypothetically, you could put one, we're looking at, like, what if we put one, say, at the Duford gas station, and people could come out here, they get this fast charger in their car, but then let's say we have a power outage, that same charger can be wired in to run that facility, because it's just a mobile a mobile power plant. And so now we have some resiliency behind it. So if we had a power outage, we could run the Duford gas station or a similar facility, and people could still come down and get fuel or whatever they needed to do to conduct business and stuff. And so there's a lot of technology out there. We're it's a little bit in the Wild West, I'd say. I'm gonna kick it over to David because we both kind of experienced different things as we're operating some of this electric equipment.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Well, just to add to your answer, at that event, we will, aside from the utility companies, we'll have folks from Forth who can talk on the technical side, both about the vehicles, technical and funding for the whole EV charging infrastructure, just regionally and writ large. But to your question, I just read recently that about 90% of the chargers needed in the next decade will be at households. And it makes sense to me. My wife and I leased a car about 10 years ago, and it went 80 miles on a warm day. And that was like legitimate earned range anxiety. And now you get over 300 miles. Dodge is coming out with a truck maybe next year that it's a hybrid with it. It's actually an electric truck with a onboard small combustion generator that enables the battery to go closer to 600 miles range. So at that point, what's more important, the vehicle and having home charging. But what I would say to our other project that Robert and I work on, rural EV charging, I think we're really learning a lot there in terms of, it's not just the technology, it's the geography and the conditions that are unique to rural America, where you use an example, I will, of the town of Antelope that we were in communication with. And if the funding source to develop charging at that crossroads, into the Painted Hills and down the Big Muddy, and there's a lot of traffic that goes through that whole area, though it's a small town, how are they to navigate a large, cumbersome federal grant if they don't have any paid staff at the city? And what if the charging station requires an internet connection that's not there? And just numerous other issues that we find are unique for these technologies that are built and designed by and more aptly applicable to urban and metropolitan environments. And so we're open-minded and trying to figure that out through the experience of giving it a try in Wasco County to really help inform USDA and in their attempts to support that nationally in rural landscapes. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
I'm going to bring up a topic really quick, and then because I'm hoping to have it done by the time you guys are here on the 4th, but I just don't know. We were in touch with a company, and they do a special program that everybody has these electric chargers mapped, and they say what kind of chargers they are and all of this. Well, this one is called Charge Deals, and it usually needs a sponsor. So the chamber is going to step up and be that sponsor, and then you can use QR codes to inform people that this is here in your town. And it allows our businesses to put coupons and specials all within that app of where those chargers are. So we are going to be sponsoring this program for the Dalles, and we will be putting it out to our businesses because we're sponsoring and paying for it. The businesses, it's free. And they can go on and monitor and change their specials up. They can have more than one, so that when a person comes to a charger or beforehand, if they get this information, we'll have it on our website, and they can see the QR code at the charger. They can scan that and it'll say, while you're here charging your car, why don't you enjoy exploring our town? Here's some coupons that will help you do that. So it's just one more little tiny aspect, but we want to capitalize on all of this and encourage people to shop in our area. So we'll be signing up for this program, and we're hoping that we can get a few people on it by the 4th, but if not, we'll at least have that platform so people can take a look at it and be informed. But we just thought this is an opportunity, especially right outside the chamber. And then we have some down at Lewis and Clark Park as far as chargers and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that the chamber does its job in making sure every person has the opportunity to shop local while they're here. So we talked to him. He said people are willing to walk 4 blocks from wherever they see that special. So that we'll be kind of catering to that. But that's a good distance. He says they like 2, but they will walk 4. They've surveyed the owners of the electric cars and what they're doing. So we're kind of excited that we found a way, of course, to piggyback and make sure we give our message that I give 24/7, 365 days a year, shop local. So thanks for the opportunity of putting it at the chamber. It's just one more way that I can do that.
Lisa,
And
Yes.
are those opportunities, can you put those on the Rivian and the ones over there at Cousins as well, those QR codes, or?
I don't see why not, because it's a whole different program, and it just shows they mapped all the chargers because everybody knows where those chargers are. So I will be working as soon as I get signed up, what I can do and then where I can put those. And if it's okay, I'll talk to all the property owners. But I'm kind of excited. It's not a super expensive one. And I went through and it's pretty cool just on the app. And I can go and say, oh, I get $1 off of a happy hour beer over at Freebridge while I've left my car charging. Score. So yeah, so but that's what, and it'll be on the chargers. So most of the public, unless they're pulling up to there and charging their car, aren't going to be hopefully not misusing and taking these in there, you know. And the owners have a right to say, oh, you have an electric car, and if you don't, then you're not using that coupon. So but I think our businesses would welcome just another reason that someone's coming through their door. So I'm excited.
Lisa, that's a great strategy, because when we drove from San Diego to Monterey, when we were looking for charging stations, we always were looking for some place we could eat
Yep.
or could shop, or at least look around. And so, because you had about sometimes 20, 30 minutes, so
Right.
you might as well take advantage of that and just, instead of just sitting in the car.
I know that's enough time for 2 coffees. Come on. So, but no, so I'm kind of excited that we will be adding that to this, just another layer that we can take advantage and hopefully capture some of those, the visitors that are doing that. So it looks like Phil has a question and then David.
I'm
He's
gonna
gonna
jump
ask
on a
himself a
soapbox here for a minute. If we're, where to start? Let me push the envelope first. My wife is saying, Phil, I'm an early adopter, and that I'm already ordered the Honda Prologue. It hasn't even been built yet. But not so. If you want to be the early adopter, the next generation is hydrogen hybrids, hydrogen powered hybrids, and Honda's actually come out with a hydrogen power Honda. Now that is on the extreme edge, because it's really hard to find hydrogen to fuel your cars with. And so an electric car, thank you, this is established technology. It's been doing it. And if you have a hybrid car, I'm on my 3rd Toyota Prius, and it runs on a battery, it runs on an electric motor. That's the same as electric cars. The difference now, of course, is getting into range. And I ask everybody to get used to it. Just get used to it, because we're all going to need to change. Gasoline, petroleum is so cheap, so easy, that we have become addicted to it. The last thing I'll do is, everybody on this call is of a certain age or older. And so think about it. How attractive is this to you? And we'd say, okay, in terms of climate change, fighting climate change, how attractive, how important? Yeah, kind of. How important would it be to an 18-year-old? Think about it from the perspective of an 18-year-old, and the balance changes, because then that's the whole rest of the 18-year-old's life that we're dealing with. So when we're thinking about things that involve, okay, am I doing this, it's a little discomfort in exchange for reducing CO2 levels? doesn't matter to me because I'm 68 years old. It would matter to an 18-year-old much, much more. We need to put that calculation into our thinking. We discount the future populations because they're not here. It's like Groucho Marx said, why should I worry about future generations? What have future generations ever done for me? But they are going to be here. Think of our grandkids, and they're going to think of things very differently than we are.
Yeah, Phil, I just want to say one thing before David. The other thing with the teenager is they won't be bumming you off $100 to go fill their tank up. You just plug them in.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to interject. Go ahead, David.
Well, Lisa, it's not even 8 a.m. and I already learned something on charge deals. So I'll pass that along. That sounds really interesting.
Okay, glad I could help.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention though that at Forth, we are interested in equity and also on community-centered work. And I realized that we're doing this event at the chamber that's sort of kitty corner to the annex. And it got me wondering about mobility in the geography and the demographics of the Dalles for folks of certain demographics getting to in transitional housing or what have you, getting to work, to the supermarket, to a medical appointment. And so I'm just planting a seed that's work that's being done elsewhere. And I did have an early conversation this week with Mid-Columbia Community Action Council to get that going. But here we are. So I'm just letting you know, if you have any thoughts and ideas, reach back out. But I want to start that conversation to see if we might engage in a project in the Dalles that would allow certain people access to smaller electric, basically electric bikes or cargo bikes that could get them around, maybe bolster their opportunities with local mobility and connecting that to the regional transportation plan. That's all.
I'm gonna jump in right quick. This last week I was at the transit meeting, the link service, and they considered getting an electric bus, but they figured when they looked into it, studied, it wasn't going to be practical. But what you're talking about is different, which is like give the person the vehicle instead of connecting to the vehicle.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to mention too is we've talked about charging, and it's a little different. It used to be like the old days where you had a Texaco card and a Chevron card and a Shell card, and you had to use that card at that station, and that's kind of how charging is. And Tesla has the best charging infrastructure out there that we've seen, but that's all changing right now. So Tesla's opened up their charging network. So traditionally, like locally here, the Tesla chargers out at Cousins were, they've been there for quite some time, and it was only Tesla vehicles that could charge there. And so now that's opening up. I don't know that it's all the way worked through, but I know Ford and Rivian have agreements with Tesla to use those charging stations. I don't know how happy the Tesla owners are about that, but it sure makes it a lot better for other manufacturers because Tesla does have a superior charging network and stuff. And so things are changing in that world with the charging, and then hopefully as we move forward, there'll be additional funds and stuff. So there's more charging at places of work. The homes being built have basically 220 outlets being installed in the garages, so that as you buy that home, you're simply plugging in your charger and you're off and running. It makes it more easy for you and stuff. But we're still in a very fast time of growth of I don't want to say new technology, as Phil mentioned, but it's something that's a little different. I think for David and I, when, a few years ago, you go to Portland, you see all these electric vehicles, but you really didn't see a lot out here in the rural areas. And that's what we knew they were coming. So we wanted to try to start taking a look. And that's why we kind of pushed us to do some of the work that we're doing. The other thing I'll say is I know a few years ago, there was several contractors approaching businesses, public organizations and stuff, and they were talking about wanting to put charging in, but we really didn't know enough about it to make a decision. And I know Rivian approached us at the port, wanted to put a charging out at the marina. And I always thought, why wouldn't that charging be downtown the Dalles? So when they come in to charge, they're going to Zim's for a burger, they're going walking up and down Main Street and stuff. And so kind of to feed into what Lisa's talking about, even with this coupon program and stuff. But and what Scott mentioned too is when you go to charge, you're looking to grab a coffee or you're looking to use the restroom, and so it is an opportunity for businesses. And I know some of the businesses are looking at it that way, that they want to install charging so people come to them and come to their location. The other interesting fact I learned, and our cell phones are tracking us, and we all know that. And so there's actually some data tables that are out there that I think Travel Oregon uses, and it tracks where people go and where they stay at different locations through cell phone data. And so again, I think that would be, when we're looking at charging, maybe looking at some of that data to figure out maybe where some of this charging infrastructure should be. And so there's a lot of data and technology and stuff that's out there, and it's definitely growing.
So Willow Creek, Robert, on that notice, when we have a data system ourselves that we use for tourism called Datafy, but my region also uses Placer, which can hone in on an exact location. So let's talk. I have access.
Yeah, I see Matthew's got his hand up here.
Yes, Mr. Data Guy. Matt Cole.
So my question is kind of related to the expansion of EVs and our rural areas. And one of the things that I've actually thought about, just being a technical person and knowing some of the stuff, is actually more with the increase of EVs and the increase of the potential for accidents. How is consideration being given within this scope to how our first responders actually are going to deal with the increase of electric vehicles, especially in rural, only because, statistically, the, lithium ion battery fire is an example, which of course is a worst case scenario, but how is our rural EMS fire departments going to be able to deal with the increase of this? And is any consideration being given to how we provide them with the proper training and tools to deal with issues like that?
Yeah, and I don't know that I have a great answer for you. I can tell you a couple things that I have seen. And so electric school buses, for example, have been going out to several of the school districts, even throughout Oregon. And one thing that I've seen is when I don't know if it's the electric bus company doing this, but they're actually pulling in the fire department once that bus arrives and going through kind of an emergency situation. I think they're probably talking about where the shutoffs are, the battery shutoffs are, anything of the vehicle they should know. And so I have seen that taking place on the cars. I don't know, David or Phil, have you guys seen anything kind of specific to cars?
No, I mean, I came previously from hazardous waste work locally, and battery danger was definitely on the increase. I think there was a tenfold projected demand in spent lithium batteries in the next decade, and it's fast becoming a real danger point for solid waste workers as well, with fires at transfer stations and landfills, just because the instability of lithium. And yeah, I don't have the answers, but great point, Matthew, and I'll pass that along.
So David, I think that the lithium batteries in landfills are the small ones, the pen cells and things larger. Cells coming out of an automobile are going to be handled at a junkyard type arrangement.
Right. I mean, I assume Mike Matthews talking, referring to like an accident with an electric car out on the road and first responders. But though there's this other question about what do we do with these these huge car batteries when at the end of life, and that's a whole nother question, but we're getting towards more regulated collection programs, and not, if for no other reason, a matter of national security, just keeping rare earth metals and things like lithium and cobalt, which is really hard to find, and volatile locations throughout the world, keeping that material here when it's spent to reprocess it.
But I know we're running out of time. Just real quick, we've already been dealing with 200-volt batteries in hybrid cars. They've been on the road now for 10, 15 years, and they've had their share of accidents. So it's something we're dealing with. And then also in terms of rare earth metals, the same is true for catalytic converters. If you've heard of rhodium, it's a rare earth metal. Doesn't mean it's rare. It just means there aren't real rich deposits of it anywhere. But same is true for catalytic converters, that they rely on scarce metals.
Okay. Well, Robert and David, is there any other questions? We are at the top of the hour and I want to be respectful to everybody's crazy work schedules or desire to go outside and stand in the sun, one of the two. So with that, I will keep you all posted on where I get with my charge deals, especially David. And so that way you guys are knowing. And then if I can get that all in gear, get it going and have stickers here, then we can even talk about that while we're here. As opportunities to spring on the businesses even more. But keep me posted. I'll look for a flyer from David from the event. I've already shared the link to the website so that my staff can get it on the community calendar with even more information. That's helpful. And then if you do have any Facebook posts that you're doing, please tag the Dalles Chamber in there so that we know them and then we can help share that, especially for this event.
Lisa, can I catch you for 2 minutes after here? Can you hang on the screen for a minute?
Yes, you can. I had to look at my calendar really quick. It's that kind of a day. So we'll do that. But I just want to say thank you to Robert and David so much for being here. It's very informative. It's interesting and always to see where we're going and what electric and EV vehicles mean for our community here, even though we're rural. So everyone, don't forget, I already put some stuff in the chat. There's things that you can do. And if you really want to volunteer, I do have slots for you. I will not turn you down ever. So with that, everyone, have a super Thursday and you take care and we will stay in touch. Thank you.
See you guys. Thank you.